Welcome in, Rebels. Coming to you live from the beautiful Breakers Resort, West Palm Beach, Florida. Quantum crushing it on news that the Trump administration is about to take a stake in some of your favorite quantum computing names. If you've been listening to the Rebels Edge, they're already in your portfolio. And then Tesla tanks on disappointing news, profit up, but revenue down. We'll talk about that. And then finally, will the Vikings make it to the playoffs? They're vying for a slot in tonight's Thursday football matchup. Is it going to happen? We'll cover all that and more in a hard-hitting Rebels Edge. John.
It's pretty nice down here, isn't it, Mark?
What a week it's been. Got to tell you, what an absolutely incredible week it's been. This is usually the part where you say, that is not my brother Pete. He's got hair, younger, or better looking. Well, I don't know about that. But good to be with you, my friend.
Great to be with you. Mark and I have been down here at the Breakers, fabulous resort, with some pretty high-end customers, as well as about as high as it's on the presidential pecking order here, because it's the first son of the President of the United States, Don Trump Jr., who was down here with us for dinner last night. And Mark was lucky enough to enjoy some time with one of his cohorts, one of Junior's cohorts that works a lot with the family. Man, it has been a fun and very entertaining week down here.
Yep, no doubt. Don Jr. Here to talk about the administration's support of the critical minerals and rare earth industry. It's a story we've been covering incessantly on this show and on others. Big news this morning that makes us incredibly happy. And we're going to give you some specifics as to why. Trump administration announcing they're going to start making investments in quantum. It's been an incredible week. It's been an incredible week for members of the Rebel Nation, killer trades, and all of our services. I can't stop smiling. Things are going really, really well. John, in the macro, here's what I got. I'm looking at earnings, right? We have about 800 companies that have reported so far. We're still in the early innings of this earnings season. 78% of them, according to FactSet, exceeded the street's expectation. My research indicating that we're looking for, on average across the board, about a 5% growth in earnings quarter over quarter. What do you got for the macro?
Well, Mark, I agree. It is pretty critical that we have so much happening in the political side of things, not just capital markets. So Xi Jinping and our president to be meeting next week, and Putin and Trump perhaps sometime in the future. They both have said it wasn't really scheduled, just sort of softly scheduled. Whoever's doing these schedulings is probably pulling their hair out. But I'd say, yeah, these two big meetings, one with China, right as the delay of the tariffs against China are due to kick in to full 100%, if indeed the president and Xi Jinping can't come to some sort of agreement in a little over a week.
Yeah, that's November 1st, which is the deadline for that. And John, a lot of traders I spoke to yesterday indicated that a lot of that selling pressure was coming from fears that meeting may not happen, that the trade war may heat up even further. We shall see. All right, well, listen, John, we got a small cap spotlight today, and I love this one because if you look at the chart that producer Jared's going to pop up on the screen, since the first time we covered this name on or about, I think it was the 10th of October, this stock is up big time. I'm talking, of course, folks, about Quantum Emotion. This is one of our favorite little-known, under-the-radar names in quantum computing. Look at the performance of this thing today, John. On the back, we had a 1-2 punch. Of course, the news that President Trump is going to start making direct investments in the quantum computing space. We'll talk about why in a second. And this company also coming out with a press release this morning that they are about to launch, they're about to launch the first quantum random number generated QRNG quantum secure solution for data centers. I mean, it's absolutely unbelievable. And look, folks, this is part of the reason why we are so bullish on this sector. We're so bullish on these names like Rigetti. We started talking about and investing in personally, having unusual in that name as early as I think summer of last year when the stock was under $3, $4. You see where it is today, doing incredibly well on the news that the Trump administration is making these investments in these quantum companies. And here's why this is so critical, John, and here's why the president and his team acknowledge and understand that, why this is part of President Trump's Manhattan Project, is because a quantum threat is arguably one of the largest threats to our national security. If somebody else, another country that doesn't like us very much, gets to quantum scale, Q-Day as it's being called by the guys in white lab coats, before we do, anything, I mean anything, bank accounts, the national grid, defense structure can be hacked. So we need a quantum solution. We need a quantum protection, a quantum shield against this quantum threat. The president recognizes that. That's why the sector's on fire. That's part of why QNCCF is the symbol here in the United States. This is a TSXV company, Quantum Emotion, ripping today, ripping since we talked about it on the 10th of October. Congrats to all the rebels that got in on this one. I think it's still got more room to go. By the way, folks, full disclosure, Reg FD, we do have both a position in this name and we are advisors to this company and we have been paid for those advisory services. But I got to tell you, man, I love the sector. I love this name. They're delivering milestone after milestone. This is red hot.
Absolutely right. That is quantum emotion, folks. Check that out. The stock on fire. And Mark's right. Up over 100% since he mentioned it just over a week ago. All right. Mark, what about these quantum stocks? You've already said, with quantum emotion, that there's certainly in a hot sector. But the fact that the president might be taking stakes for all of us, as he did with the chips, as he did with the critical minerals and so forth, getting in here with Intel and all the rest. I think this is big. And looking at the moves that Rigetti is making today and D-Wave or QUBE and these quantum stocks, this is a moonshot.
Yeah, it really is, the whole sector. And look, you don't have to be a fan of the president to recognize that it makes more sense to make investments in these companies than to just give them handouts and tax incentives and grants. Bill Ackman said it just the other day on a four-letter network that I won't mention. It makes a hell of a lot more sense to be doing with taxpayer dollars than just giving these corporations government handouts. It puts us in the game. I think we could see a U.S. sovereign wealth fund before the end of 2026. I know that's also on the radar. Don Jr. mentioned that at dinner last night. Really interesting to see if that plays out. But this quantum sector, been on fire. And folks, the next Market Rebellion research report that's going to be issued any day now, covering the quantum sector, free to everybody that's part of the Rebel Nation. So I can't wait to get that one in circulation. John, next one up, Tesla, not doing as well as the quantum names today.
No, Tesla getting hit a little bit, and deservedly so. I'll call it both ways, balls and strikes. And I'm going to say, Mark, that, if the consensus is for 56 cents a share profit, and instead you come in at 50, that's a 10% miss. You're going to see people hit the stock, and that's exactly what they've done. The stock has also had a pretty nice run in the second half of the year so far. So you can see why some people might be willing to take a little off the table here.
Yeah.
Do you have any other insights other than Elon's $1 trillion pay package?
Yeah, listen, it's so funny. Elon this morning trying to change the narrative. He is a great spin doctor. It's part of the role of CEO. God knows I know that. But he's like, don't worry about the EV sales. Look over here at our humanoid robot program. And this is a robot company and it's a data company and it's not just an EV company. Man, he does a great job of that. But I'll tell you, John, as much of an Elon fan and as much of a Tesla fan as I am and as you have been, I am very concerned about Tesla's EV business. Lots of competition in China continuing to encroach on what was already a shrinking market share in that part of the world, at not keeping up with the expansion of the EV grid here in this country. Cybertruck sales plummeting. It's not a great set of things. So as much as I cheer on Elon and I cheer on Tesla, great American company, I think I might sit this one out until we see how those other macro things play out.
Yeah, I mean, when I was over in Yerevan, Armenia last week, Mark, you wouldn't believe the number of, it wasn't just UID. It was, I think I saw four different Chinese EV makers all had EVs on the streets in Armenia. And
Yeah.
why is that? Well, because they're cheaper and they can't import them here into the United States because of a whole bunch of reasons. And yet overseas, boy, they are really starting to own some of those markets. And clearly, even though there were Teslas in Armenia, it was not the same number as there were Chinese EVs.
Yeah, no doubt. China eating Tesla's lunch, not just in China, but other parts of the world. That is definitely concerning. Okay, IBM, your grandfather's Oldsmobile of the tech sector, also disappointing, doing well. What was the story there, John? With all the quantum news this morning, I actually didn't get a chance to really look into this one. Shares, well, let's see, sliding despite good Q3 results and guidance exceeding expectations. IBM now looking for revenue growth of 5% versus last year's CEO commentary, at least 5%. Net free cash flow, $14 billion. Continued global demand being cited by CEO Krishna for IBM's AI and hybrid cloud offerings, but the AI book of business growing to 9.5 billion. I mean, look, my opinion on this one, if I had to make a bet in the AI space, and I have made several bets and will continue to make several bets in the AI space, this is not the company that jumps to mind. John, what do you think?
Yeah, that's true. It seems, Mark, when on the software side, Oracle all of a sudden just sprang into the common speak about AI and how much Oracle can support that. IBM hasn't been able to make that case the same way Larry Ellison and Oracle did. So even though I really think that Arvind Krishna is the CEO for IBM at this time. The good news is that it opened near the lows of the day and it's pretty much been rallying. It was down 7%. Now it's only down 2. So people are willing to give them a little bit more rope, I think, Mark. But I think overall, the stock is just not as exciting as some of the other plays in the space.
I tell you what, John, when I see Sam Altman coming in and looking to buy IBM's preferred, I'll get excited. But until OpenAI's wallet opens up on this one, I got better things to do in the AI space. All right, John, we got one more ticker. It's a healthcare name to cover today. Molina Healthcare, MOH, should be MEH. What in the heck happened? This one getting slapped.
Yeah. Shares plunging. They slashed. Somebody slapped them, Mark, because they slashed their 2025 non-GAAP EPS to $14 from a prior of, quote, this is air quotes, not less than $19. So that, my friends, is a big guidance oopsie. And anytime you have that, whether it's an health insurance provider like Molina, MOH, or whether it's Tesla, if you miss by a lot, and that is a lot, and a lot more than the 10% that Elon missed by, you're going to get hit and hit hard. That's exactly what's happening here. Medicare and losses from Medicaid. This one just pretty much getting hit from all directions today, Mark. And I don't know that I'd be stepping back into this one on this drop. I think I'd give it a little more, perhaps at least Friday to Monday to shake out a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, to me, this is also a no touch, right? And the managed health sector for me all year has been a no touch. When I'm asked about what sector, people always love to ask me what I'm the most bullish about. A lot of smart anchors and co-hosts on shows like the one I did this morning with Janet Alvarez over at SiriusXM Channel 132, the Business Briefing. Tune in Tuesdays and Thursdays to hear me and Janet do that show, 10 a.m. Eastern. It's a hell of a lot of fun. It's a call-in show. So if you want to call in and ask questions live on the air, you can do that. Just no relationship advice, please. But the thing that I've said many times, the sector that I think is just a no touch is managed health, the health insurance. United getting smacked around by the Justice Department, continued and ongoing inquiries into billing practices, misapprehension of that backlog of option and non-urgent services still from COVID. I don't even know how that's possible, but you're still hearing that. So I wouldn't touch this one. I wouldn't touch this sector. There's plenty of other ways to make money, folks. You don't need to chase this. And you don't know, the last thing I'll say, RFK Jr. shaking things up in this industry. You don't know what he's going to do next as part of his style. It's not a place where I'd want to try to get any kind of alpha. So, John, we only got a couple minutes left for Pete's Red Zone Sports. Pete, we're going to handle this as best we can in your absence. Pete's on an airplane coming back up to Minnesota from this Palm Beach conference. The Vikings, they have a shot, I think, at clinching and securing a spot in the playoffs. If they don't win tonight's game, well, I think they're out. How do you see that stacking up?
Well, unfortunately for the Vikings, they're playing a really strong LA team, and the Vikings. It's not quite the same as when you have a quarterback problem and the coach just doesn't like the quarterback. The problem is quarterbacks are having a hard time staying healthy, and JJ McCarthy's been out. They're going to start Carson Wentz, making his fifth straight start up in Minnesota. JJ McCarthy rather, is, I think, a great quarterback as well, but he hasn't been able to stay healthy. And as we've said repeatedly, the left tackle for the Vikings has just been a revolving door in terms of when the quarterback's back to pass and the speed rusher is coming from the left. That's not a good thing. And I think it's probably a good thing for JJ not to be in there yet. Hopefully get a healthy offensive line together. But I don't know, Mark. This one, on a short week, the Vikings playing the Rams, I don't like this one a lot. I would be with the Rams on this.
Bad news for Viking fans, for sure. And then quickly, John, what do you got? Top three. Let's go over to the NCAA for the last part of Pete's Red Zone Sports. College football, top three games that are on your watch list. What do you got?
And I'm sure Pete would agree that Texas A&M looks really strong. They're 8-0, or 7-0 rather. Maybe they'll be 8-0. They're playing LSU. LSU is still a very good football team, even though they've lost two games, but they've lost them to fairly tough opponents. Now, speaking of tough opponents, Texas A&M, they are very, very difficult no matter where you play, on the road or at home. So I think this one could push LSU out of the NCAA college football playoff picture, because if you have three losses, you're not going to get in. Ole Miss versus Oklahoma, I like this game as well. And Pete was just sending up a short video clip to Lane Kiffin, the coach at Ole Miss, today from here at the Breakers. He was recording that. And we'll have to see. We'd love to get a little commentary from Lane Kiffin next week, again, the head coach of the Ole Miss, about how he took Pete's encouragement and whether or not that helped him take down Oklahoma. Lastly, Mark, I'd say BYU, undefeated, one of the undefeated teams, along with Texas A&M and just a small cadre of others. I think BYU at Iowa State should roll. And so even though they're on the road, I think Brigham Young is looking awfully tough. And that's more or less the way I would bet as well. So I take BYU, I'd take Texas A&M, and I'd take Ole Miss, Mark.
I love it. I love it. Well, John, thank you very much for letting me sit in for your brother Pete. It's always a lot of fun to do the Rebels Edge with you. It's always great to take a little victory lap when we have a success like we did with QNCCF, as well as the quantum space in general, Rigatoni, as I like to call it, D-Wave, QUBT, all of them continuing to rock massively to the upside on that news of the Trump administration investment in the space. We got to get to quantum dominance. It's a matter of national security. Folks, if you happen to be in the Cayman Islands by any chance, or if you'd like to be in the Cayman Islands,
If you happen to be,
if you happen to be, John and I are headlining there. I think it's week after next, John, if I'm not mistaken. Producer Jared, we got some tiles you could pop up there so people can try to grab tickets. We're going to be headlining there with our friend and business partner, Grant Cardone. We're also going to be featuring Alan Marshall from UPXI. That is the largest DAT in the Solana space, digital asset treasury. We've got some stuff coming up for you on that on Fox Business and some other networks about the DATs. Stay tuned. We've also just launched ticket sales for our 10X Wealth event in December. That I believe is the 11th and the 12th of December. So much going on. You can see John tomorrow morning. John, I just learned you're on before me on Newsmax, even earlier than I am on Wake Up America. What time are you going to be on that, John? 6:30?
7 o'clock Eastern.
7. Well, okay, so tune in Newsmax tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock Eastern, and then when John's done, keep that channel. Don't touch the dial, because you'll see me then. Don't touch that dial, because you'll see me right after on that fantastic network and that fantastic channel. Thank you very much, folks, for watching The Rebels Edge. We're not going to see you tomorrow's Friday, of course, but we will be having the Rebels join us for our weekly cocktail hour. If you're not signed up for that, go over to markrebellion.com/get started. Join the Rebel Nation. And until next week, have a safe and restful weekend. And as we always say, trade smarter.